Cliff, can you hear me? Hello?
It was just saying recording in progress.
Yeah, okay. Can you hear me? Yes? No?
Absolutely, I could hear you.
Okay, good. All right. Yeah. Okay. Today we're going to go into the 30 movements. Staff, spear. A second or two. Just kind of settle a bit. Here's the obvious. I'm here to hopefully learn something in an Aikido class. Easy with it. Of course. So learning martial art, any movement system requires attention and focus. But be easy with it. What's easy mean? Kind of see the whole room as opposed to focusing what's there. I'm in a settled enough place where I begin to feel my breathing. There's a lot of noise going on with sounds. When you settle deep enough, there's this kind of, I would say it's the soundless sound going on. You can call it silence, it's not quite the same thing. I get distracted by all that activity out there. I can settle a little deeper with it. If I get drawn out a bit, I just settle under it a bit. After a while, that soundless sound becomes kind of its own thing. It's very difficult to articulate, but that's going on, that activity. But under that, deeper than that, there's this soundless sound, we call it silence. It's its own thing. The world will make its noise. The world will go on. The world is the world. And under that, the world going on, the Hindus call it Maya. It's very real, but it's also illusory. It's illusion. The Hindus call it samsara. And easy, something's going on. Another level of that, maybe. It's almost like having a split screen. I'm trying to settle more into the deeper, quieter, clearer, more open. And after a while, that screen starts to get bigger and bigger. The other part of it, the Maya, samsara, noise of the world, that deeper zone is kind of where I kind of find more in me. And some days that samsara Maya won't shut up. So settling deeper, quieter. The breathing, seems to going deeper than the physical body. It's like a big wave ascending, descending. So here I know that I'm a little deeper rooted into that other level of experience of soundless sound, whatever you want to call it, emptiness. My ability to focus is better when I'm here as opposed to caught up in all that. Cliff, anything you want to add? I mean, it's kind of my process, but that provide anything for you?
Yeah, I'm definitely becoming more relaxed.
Yeah.
So, and sort of feeling more in my body, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. One of the things, for example, is, not so much, the noisy mind. We live in all this noise. As you kind of settle a little deeper, you get a little more balanced mind and body. That's why the breathing comes up. Kind of find more ground. When I'm here, there's too much going on. There's too much noise, which has always been that way. You go back into 16th century Japan, I'm sure you would have the noise of the world. Maybe the Zen priests would be talking about, or the Shinto priests would be talking about nature, kami. Okay. So anyway, this is where we are. Checking the time. So. Where'd it go? Okay. Oh. We're going to go through the 30 movements. Okay. Take a second to just settle. Okay, I'm going to do this. What I kind of want to do is what we covered, I guess it was Wednesday. Any motion comes out of stillness. Now I'm going to change hands. That's movement. There's stillness going on, but I'm too caught up in the motion. I'm too caught up in the noise of the world. So be very easy there. Movement out of stillness. Movement out of stillness. Movement out of stillness. Any motion comes out of stillness. Took 2 steps that time. Stillness, I take a step back. I take a couple of steps back. So what we're doing right here, stillness, motion, almost anything follows that. I'm going to, out of the stillness, there's motion. Goes back to stillness, doesn't it? Now another motion. Goes back to stillness, doesn't it? Let's just say, here I am trying to meditate. The in-breath goes to an out-breath, so I'm working breathing. But I don't go. The in-breath reaches a place of stillness for the out-breath to start, place of stillness, where the in-breath starts, and the out-breath. In-breath, out-breath, and between those, stillness. Now, as I get a little bit more into that stillness, the breathing starts to find its own natural rhythm, which gets deeper and deeper and deeper. And the noise starts up again out there, but kind of in my particular place in that deeper, we call it the stillness, soundless sound, stillness in the movement of things. Stillness in the movement of things. Stillness, silence, emptiness, they're all around us. They're different words to describe it. For example, we say emptiness, but that emptiness is very alive, empty, empty. Stillness, but that stillness is very alive, ready to shift into movement. And after a while, that whatever you want to call it, the soundless sound, stillness, or sensei like the word true, emptiness, is its own thing. Now that's a series of movements. That there's a change to this and that. And between each of those, that stillness integrates that. It's not a form. It's almost like that form is happening in a field of that stillness. Motion, different phases like the moon, quarter moon, half moon, full moon, no moon. Okay. Now, here we are going into movements of the staff sphere. Before we get into the forms of it, just an explanation. Forward motion, lateral movement. This is backward motion, lateral movement, forward movement. Okay, so it becomes a little bit like making a plus sign. Now, one of the things about the sphere, one of the things I think Ueshiba or Sensei learned, an incoming, let's say that's a sphere, or that's a sword. If you go into it, you don't want to go into the incoming, but on the other hand, if I make this move, the incoming adjusts. So a lot of what the sphere teaches, you advance on the incoming and open. The opening through the lateral movement. The incoming is A. The obvious is the forward movement. The less obvious is the lateral movement complementing the forward movement. All right, the term for it is Tai Sabaki, body changing. Now, there's an incoming. I step back. But if I step back, I just shifted into a lateral movement along with the motion back. Okay. Cliff, any thing about that? We have the plus sign, forward motion,
Yeah, I
lateral
guess
motion.
I never really thought about what it looks like from above.
Yeah.
Also, the thing with the Tai Chi form, I don't really think about what it looks like. I just do that. But yeah, I mean, that makes sense that it's more of a
Okay.
plus sign shape.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's also some circles, right? Like there's the big sweeping moves, like move number 28 and things like that. So that it would look like a plus in a zero or something if you looked at it from above, if you traced all the movements.
You get the plus sign and it starts to rotate. What do you get?
Oh, you get a whole circle. Yeah.
Okay. Or you get the plus sign expanding and rotating. What do you get?
Spiral.
And you get that plus sign contracting and rotating. What do you get?
Yeah, you get a shrinking spiral, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very platonic.
Spiral.
Yeah, in the sense of like the Plato's realm of ideal objects. It's like a platonic ideal of a form.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just say that we go through the first part of the first 10 movements. But what we're going to do, we're going to start from movement number 5. Okay? Left foot, right foot, point, base, triangle. Now here, for example, full frontal shot. So you're turning the hips. So there's already a little bit of circle, which is, again, both a forward motion and a lateral movement. Okay. So left foot, right foot, do it from a different angle, lateral motion. Okay. Let's just say right here, you got your point, you got your base. Not too wide and not too long. This is just really about a shoulder width. There's an incoming. You don't, your energy goes out if it comes back at you. And so, really what this is a lateral movement with the feet in a more defined position here. Okay. Okay. Now, left foot position, right foot position, point, base. Hands. This is a rifle position. This is how you hold a sword or spear from the top. Palm in the grip, little finger, ring finger, middle index finger, thumb. And in this position, you're forming a triangle. See here, this is too square. Here, the point is about heart level. Right there is a good shot. Back here. And the grip. Now what we're going to do is shift the weight forward, extend both arms. And then we're going to add what's called a closing motion. Double spiral, okay? The thumb is turned in. If I'm holding too tight, I can't do it, but if I'm too loose, it's too lax. Okay. So the whole thing. And at that particular point, the point is heart level, but the end here is right under the heart and in front of it. If I hold this way and there's contact, I jam my wrist. Okay, so point, base. Now you see that point there is right at heart level. My right hand is slightly below the heart. This way, again, just jam. And there's that double spiral. Okay, now the feeling of that, okay, you have a beam of light. And what you're doing is taking that beam of light and focusing it in a laser. Boom. Not stopping it. Boom. Now that light beam is still going out, it's just lasering, not a stop. And let's just say right here, there's an incoming. Well, the turning motion of the body. And if I just go this way, the two spheres, let's just say spirit to spirit, they clash. But if I'm going this way, you notice you have to pay somewhat attention. The tip is a spiral. And therefore, what happens, there's the incoming. You spiral around it to the heart level of the person who's wielding that spear coming in. That's an old movement. Body changing, Tai Sabaki. That's the thrust. Thrust is the basis of almost all Aikido movements. It's entering. Okay? So movement 5 is forming the triangle. Movement 6. Okay? Okay? Movement 5 is the triangle. Movement 6 is the thrust off of that triangle. Okay, real quickly, any questions on that move? Because that's in every Aikido move. Anything? Any questions or anything you
No
might want to?
insights. No insights at this time.
Okay, yeah, okay. But you get the. Now we're going to turn it on its side, so it's a plus sign on the ground. That's a forward movement, but it's not purely forward. There is lateral motion in it. Is that somewhat clear?
Yes, Sensei, that makes sense.
Okay, yeah. In other words, the form of it, dissecting it. Something coming at you. Okay, moon. Now here I can't, I'm not in the triangle form, but if I were in the triangle form, it would, the incoming, or the incoming, it's harder to do here. Plus, I'm able to execute the thrusting motion to the incoming. You offer your wrist. So please grab the wrist. Now this is actually the thrusting motion. It's supported by the body changing. Okay, anything right there? That's a lot, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I've been working on this for a while,
Yeah.
right? That's the body changes and the little spiral and all of that. So I'm just trying to get it more integrated and
Okay.
polished.
Yeah. Word integration is important. I mean, Nado Sensei likes to use Bobby. Well, Bobby's Bobby. Robert is a more integrated being than Bobby. And Nado is a more integrated being than Robert. And Nado Sensei is a more integrated being than Nado. Integration, but what are you integrating? That's the other thing. We're just trying to give you some tools. What is the integration? Okay. Okay. Now, movement number 1, or this is actually, that's movement number 5 to movement 6. Now, up and down, up and down. Movement 5 is just the establishing of the triangle. Movement 6, the thrust, then that combination of lateral and forward, not in an obvious loopy way, produces a spiral. As you thrust, it's a spiral. Okay. Right. Now, if there's incoming, then you're able to do that. We get somebody here? Let's see, either that or somebody left. So it's one or the other.
Audrey joined.
Okay, hello, Audrey. We're going through the first part of the 30 movements. Okay. And lateral movement, horizontal movement, lateral forward motion with an incoming. Lateral motion with an incoming gives the incoming chance to track you. Opening. That's both a forward and a lateral movement. And so we're going through the first 10 moves of 30, but we're starting with movement 5, which is so no movement of the feet, but the point establishes the forward. The hips rotating a bit establishes the lateral motion. And the thrust is a spiral, not a loopy spiral. At the very end of that, there's that double spiral closure. And the way we put it, get myself ahead here. That's a beam of light. Now you're going to turn that beam of light into a laser. The laser continues boom, that way. Okay. So we're going from movement 6 to movement 7. Covering the head. Something that's coming in, boom, protecting the head. And this is flexible here. You can deflect down there, but you're covering kind of just about shoulder level here, covering the head, okay? And this motion is both up and down. 6, 7, up and down. And we're back here, triangle, heart level. 8 is a repeat of 6. Okay? So I'm going to leave you for a second or two. And what I'm going to do is just practice that, and I'll be back in about 90 seconds. Okay, any questions on that? Because that is a very important building block, what they call the Tai Sabaki. The combination between the lateral movement and the forward movement. It's like a plus sign. Anybody? Audrey?
Yeah, I
Cliff, anything
totally
you want to
saw
add?
it this time, especially
Okay.
like when I did it a few times, I'm like, oh yeah, it's making like, in the past you've talked about how in the thrust, it's like a little spiral or a little J shape, like a little curve. And now I'm seeing like, oh yeah, I could see like the more robust and layered mathematical shapes that are built into it. It's like looking at one of those nature photos and seeing like, the golden ratio or whatever, right? In a snail shell. I can see that there's a mathematical beauty to the movement.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what Shiba Sensei apparently, it's not, discussed too much, but apparently what he really loved when he was in school was mathematics and physics. Forward motion, lateral motion. It's a composite, body changing. Okay, so I think he worked that thrust for his whole life, really. How many years did it take him to kind of catch what that thrust was? Body changing, body changing. Okay, now, and now we're going, movement 5 is just forming the triangle. Movement 6 is that. Now, as you get a little bit more advanced, there's a foot movement. Oh, he's sidestepping. Yeah, but there's a forward aspect to that. The body is changing. Okay, so if there's an incoming, gets you off the path of it, but the rotating of the hips in that opening motion powers the thrust. So you get 2 in 1. Okay? 7 is both up and down. Generally, it's seen as a sword movement, but that's your basic kokyu, the upper hand change. You thrust. Okay? So, quick review. Movement 6, movement 7, movement 5, okay? Movement 6, 7 is both up and down. 8 is a repeat of 6. Now, we're going to trade sides and hands. Right hand goes up, left hand goes down. And we're going to trade feet. Right foot, left foot. Left foot lead, right foot becomes the lead foot. And as we're doing that, making the hand change, you cover your head with a raising motion. That's a striking move. Okay. That's number 9. Now, we've gone all the way over here. Let's just say there is an incoming. Same body change. If I just go like this, the incoming, I may get the incoming, but the incoming has gotten me too. Off the line. And so it's about head level. I don't want to cut too high or too low. Just working with myself. I'm going like that. Okay, the next movement. We trade back to the left side, cover the head. This is a harder cut because the hands form an X. Okay? But both of those striking movements have the body change. Okay, and a Yoko man here, but this is a combination. The actual cut itself is straight like a showman, but the body changing creates a living arc, so it's kind of a Yoko man also. So when I go to Yoko man, the head is exposed. Whereas here, head is not exposed, but you get the arc right there. The incoming, boom, you're out of the way of, whether it's thrust or cut. And you're on target there. Okay? That's all of those Tai Sabaki body changing. Now we're going to get some reps in, but I'm just kind of laying out the main thesis of the movements. Anything either of you want to add to it?
It all makes sense.
Okay.
Are there any situations where you would do like a genuine yokomen strike with the staff, where you would come at it actually swinging from the side as opposed to just moving your body to the side?
I would say this: you don't want to, like a style. Okay. Bruce Lee, for example, he was doing Wing Chun, and he got challenged because he was teaching Chinese, and the Chinese community sent their champion. The thing was, if the champion won, he had to stop teaching non-Chinese. Bruce Lee won, then he could continue. Well, obviously Bruce Lee won. And what he found though was the Wing Chun, what happened is he was a lot less efficient. Straight line. So what happened? Well, he was so much better than the challenger. The challenger just kind of lowered his head like this, and Lee kept on punching his head. Eventually he won, but he kind of went back and played it all back because I said, I'm so conditioned to this. And so he started boxing. He started fencing, timing, broken rhythm, but he studied boxing. So, yeah. But, people look at Bruce Lee and say, yeah, what he's doing is his own updated version of Wing Chun. You could see the style of it, all right? So I'm saying don't neglect this. But you realize when you do this, you're opening yourself up here. So, Wing Chun is concentrated center line. And so, a lot of basic martial arts work the center line. You work off the center line, right, left. Occasionally, you got to come out of left field to win. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. A lot of
Yeah.
what we did in my karate style is center line work, but there are also occasional roundhousey punches and things that come out genuinely from the side, but you have to always be aware of your center line when you do it, and have the other hand is blocking your center line or whatever, so that you have protection at the same time as you're coming out in a surprising direction.
Bill Wallace, for example, I watched the video of him.
Yeah.
Superfoot,
Yeah.
And he hurt his right leg. He was a grappler, judo person, so he switched to karate, but he was a kinesiologist. And so he would protect his weak leg by keeping it back. And he became a left-sided fighter. Okay. Bruce Lee also.
It didn't matter though, because no one could tell whether you're going to do a side kick or a roundhouse or a hook kick until it was too late.
What he said in this video, he said, I have 3 hand moves, a straight jab, a back fist, and a hook jab. And I have 3 kicks, side kick, roundhouse kick, and that hook kick, right? It's 6 moves. That's all he needed. And he had his dance around, he did this hop style, which was kind of interesting because you get caught up in that wham, and up in the wham. So, you want to be flexible. If you make rules because the rules apply, right? There was a basketball game that I watched. I think it was 2016. Yeah, it was Western Conference Finals. The Warriors went on to lose the finals, unfortunately. They played a really good Oklahoma City team. And it was an elimination game, which was game 6. If Oklahoma City won, they went to the finals. The Warriors went home. The Warriors won that, and they wound up winning game 7 at home. They were the higher seed. But what happened is they were trailing the whole game. And then with a little under 2 minutes to go, Klay Thompson, who had a beautiful game, he hits a 3 to put him up by 1 point. There's still a lot of basketball. This is a very high level thing. They also had Kevin Durant at that time. And so, the Warriors defend, and, it's still that 1 point margin. And decisive possession, Warriors have the ball. And what they were doing with Curry was the MVP, unanimous MVP. Although most people kind of look at it as Klay Thompson's game, because if he hadn't had that game, the Warriors would have lost. But Curry was the MVP. He got the ball in the decisive possession. And what they were doing was putting somebody really tall on him. So Kevin Durant would play him out on the perimeter. And they had another guy, Serge Ibaka, who was about a 7-foot guy with lots of mobility. And so he switches out onto Curry. And what Curry starts to do, he starts to back up. Why? Because he can hit that shot. So Ibaka has to come out on him. And the second Ibaka shifts his weight to come up, Curry goes around him. That again is Tai Sabaki. When the attacker shifts their weight here, so he's going to the hoop, but Ibaka is such a freaky athlete, he recovers. And he basically meets Curry at the hoop. And I've looked at replays of it because what I saw was Curry goes up to put the ball off the backboard to score. Ibaka's hand is right on top of the ball. And Curry, in midair, executes the Tai Sabaki high off the glass, and Warriors up by 3. They win. Therefore, they get the 7th deciding game at home. They win. And they go to the finals and lose, unfortunately, but that's the nature of reality sometimes. But I always remember that.
That's like a Tai Chi kind of hold the ball thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other thing you find is that when you get the cross, in other words, everything is a combination of forward movement and lateral movement, Tai Sabaki. Now, right about here, for example, see, if I just go here, it's a circle, but it's a sphere, doesn't it? Tai Chi, playing cross hands. Okay, so anyway, we're going to continue, okay? And let's see. Okay, so movement 5, point, base. Movement 6, get myself ahead by moving back a little bit. 7 is both up and down. 8, repeat 6, 9, right hand up, left hand down, about shoulder width apart. Right foot up, left foot back with trade size, cover your head. That's movement number 9. Cover your head. That's movement number 10.
Sensei, can you lift the camera just a little bit so we can see your face better? You're getting cut off at the neck.
Well, you can try it.
That's better. Yes, thank you.
Okay. So try movements 5 through 10, working through the Tai Sabaki. Okay. Okay. Anything
Yeah, I'm trying to, visualize the ends of my staff and the shapes that it's making
Okay.
when I do these
Yeah.
moves. It's interesting.
Yeah. Well,
If I do it fast enough, there's like a persistence of vision and I can kind of see it.
okay.
But if I do it slow, then I have to kind of imagine the curve of it. But it's interesting. I mean, I hadn't thought of it this way before.
Well, you're Einstein. You realize, as you kind of expand the universe out, Newton no longer applies. And there you are with a blank blackboard. Where do your equations come from? Newton does explain the expanded universe with light years. Each of the Aikido movements is like one of Einstein's equations. And he never made it to the unified field theory, but he sure established relativity theory, which explains an awful lot of the extended universe. Okay, this is what we're going to try. Now, just before we do that, go over it real quickly. Movement number 1, right hand, left hand. Movement 2, counterclockwise up spiral. Movement 3, clockwise down spiral. Movement 4, boom. Movement 5 is where we started. So the first 4 I put in there to give it more of an O-sensei feel. We won't go through that right now, though they're important. Okay, we just kind of covered the Tai Sabaki. But what I'm going to do, I made a meditation tape, which I want to try out now. Now, I just want to see whether you can get the sound. We did the bell, and it doesn't come across very well. That, but I'm going to go put it on. Okay, we'll compare notes.
Yeah, I can totally hear the bell the whole time.
Okay, good. Keep. Let's just meditate for a couple of minutes. Okay, can you hear me? Oh, maybe not.
Yes, Sensei, I can hear you.
Okay. Anyway, I put that together as a type of thing where we could actually put it on broadcast because I think it puts the bell sound out. Whereas if we just try to do the meditation during a live broadcast, the Zoom hookup tends to edit out the sound. Did that come across pretty well?
Yeah, it came out perfectly. It was as if you were playing the bell in the classroom.
Yeah, that was my intention. Let's see. I think that's about it for today. We'll be meeting on what's today? Friday? Yeah. Okay. And kind of that soundless sound place. Time tends to kind of travel in a different way. You're oriented more on an interior sense of self than what's going on in the world. It just has its good points and not so good points. So we'll be Aikido Mountain View, 11:30 on Sunday.
Yep, and I will be there if I am
Oh, good.
testing negative.
Okay. Yeah. And what I did do is I sent a link, a YouTube link of that meditation around. So if you haven't gotten it, let me know.
I did
Send
get
to
it.
you.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. But that's a nice thing because you can put it on and you can just meditate. It's about 6 minutes long. It's not super long, but it kind of clears the system out. It's kind of a misogi, so to speak. And I put a lot of my photos of some of Sensei's power spots. And then some of that is my own, you know, like Honolulu Bay is a power spot for me on the island of Kauai. I put some photos of me and Harry Sensei on because, there's an area where movement of the sound with its reverb is a lot about, the flow of energy. And so if you see the Aikido movements, they come out of that reverb. Okay, so I put some of that in. I don't know how effective it was, but that's on YouTube, and I can send you, or you can actually, if you find it good, you can send it to somebody else. Okay, anyway, I thank you all. We're just going to end with this right now. So take care.
Thank you, Sensei. Have a good weekend. I'll see you on
You too.
Sunday.
Yes, bye-bye.